Hi viewers, I'm Purple Celery. Welcome back to my channel and happy 2022. I hope that everyone had a great holiday season. Today I'm going to be reviewing the Doctor Who New Year's special, Eve of the Daleks. So let me just start by saying that I was really looking forward to this episode. I'm a bit of a sucker for time loop stories. For example, Groundhog Day, Russian Doll, the novel Life After Life by Kate Atkinson, and Eve of the Daleks did not disappoint. It was a pretty back to basics, no frills type story. The plot was pretty simple. The Doctor and her friends had to escape from the storage unit and the Daleks before the time loops came to an end. It was simple, but I thought very effective. The pacing was even, the tone was even, there were no unnecessary characters. I found it quite refreshing after the overstuffed, rather bombastic series of Flux. So kudos to Chibnall for the writing there. There were lots of things that I particularly liked about Eve of the Daleks. Firstly, I liked how the Doctor's past is now catching up with her. I liked how her actions in Flux weren't swept under the carpet. So the Daleks clearly saw the Doctor as being responsible for the destruction of all of their fleets during the events of Flux. And even though the Doctor tried to explain that it wasn't her, it was the Sontarans, it was clear to me anyway that she seemed to feel at least some degree of culpability for the destruction of all those Daleks in Flux. So I did like how there was some continuity there. The second thing that I particularly enjoyed about Eve of the Daleks was how the characters were smart and brave. For example, we had the character of Nick, who ducked when faced with two Daleks in the corridor. We also had Sarah, who had the presence of mind to explore Jeff's storage units to try and find a weapon. Often in these sorts of shows and movies, the characters lose their heads and do silly things and run around like headless chooks, but not this time. So I did like how the characters were smart and savvy. Speaking of Nick and Sarah, I'm not going to lie, I thought Nick initially came across as quite an obsessed weirdo given his habit of collecting his ex-girlfriend's possessions, but I guess he kind of redeemed himself in one of those time loops by dying in an attempt to save Sarah's life. Thirdly, I also enjoyed Dan and Yaz's friendship. I love how they've become so protective of each other and so caring towards each other. It seems now they're calling each other Sheffield and Scouser. Incidentally, their reactions upon discovering that they were in Manchester on New Year's Eve were quite hilarious. The next thing that I also liked about Eve of the Daleks was the ethos of this story. I love the positive message, and essentially this was summed up by the Doctor's lines, which were basically, yes, you fail, but you improve, you learn from your mistakes, you gather a good team around you, and you try and try and try again. I think that really encapsulates what Doctor Who is all about. It's a hopeful show, it's a positive show, and that was really done well in this episode. Now, I can't talk about this episode without mentioning Thasmin. So after years of speculation and a lot of fan fiction, we now have an admission from Yaz that she likes the Doctor. The big question for me is, does the Doctor like her back? What exactly are the Doctor's feelings towards Yaz? I like the scene at the end when they were all watching the fireworks and the Doctor turns to Yaz and sort of looks at her for a few seconds. And to me, the look on the Doctor's face was kind of anxious. I'm not sure whether that was because the Doctor does have some feelings towards Yaz, but is a bit hesitant to reciprocate openly in any event because the Doctor knows that she's going to be regenerating soon and wants to spare Yaz all that trauma and all those complications. Or maybe it's simply because the Doctor just sees Yaz as a friend. I'm kind of inclined to lean towards the former because that last episode of Flux, The Vanquishers, when the Doctor says to Yaz, I want to tell you everything, to me that indicates that the Doctor does care about Yaz quite a lot. So I wouldn't be surprised if there's some degree of feelings towards the Doctor, from the Doctor towards the Yaz there. So that's going to be interesting to see how it plays out in the final 2 episodes of Jodie's run. I know too that a few people on the internet have criticised the way that Dan essentially outed Yaz or Yaz's feelings to the Doctor. I don't see that as wholly a bad thing. I don't think that Dan's intentions were malicious or anything. I think simply Dan was just trying to help out his good mate Yaz. He was just trying to nudge things along a little bit and either get the Doctor to face up to her feelings or lack thereof. And hey, if the Doctor reciprocates Yaz's feelings, then, that's fantastic. If the Doctor doesn't and just sees Yaz as a friend, then hopefully the Doctor will just tell Yaz that and Yaz can get some closure. So either way, I don't see Dan's actions there as particularly bad. Of course, your mileage may vary. And finally, Jeff. Who the heck was Jeff? He seemed to have a lot of really weird stuff in his storage units, like, those cans of baked beans and fireworks and goodness knows what else. When Jeff was first mentioned, I did wonder whether he was the same Jeff from Series 5's The 11th Hour. But on one hand, that Jeff seemed a little bit too well adjusted. On the other hand, that Jeff was living with his gran, seemed to be looking at some dubious internet sites. So maybe, things went downhill for him and he's ended up living in a storage unit, basically. So anyway, that pretty much sums up my review. I really enjoyed this episode, so I'd probably give it a 9 out of 10. As always, I would love to hear your thoughts, so please leave your comments in the comments section below. If you've liked this video, give it a like and please subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Thank you as always for watching, and I guess I'll see everybody next time when we look at that Sea Devils based special, or maybe before, who knows, if I do some more videos before then. Either way, thanks for watching, and this is Purple Celery over and out.